Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I have another fun, cheap, affordable palette from Hot Topic that I'm going to review for you, and I'm so excited about this one. I'm dressed appropriately because it's Wonder Woman. I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't try to come out with this kind of coinciding with the movie. I mean, that would have been a great opportunity, but either way, it's out now. I don't know exactly when it released. I know that I first saw it on Hot Topic's website last week, like last Thursday or Friday. So, you know, sometime before Halloween, basically. And I immediately ordered it because, again, I called all my stores. All of them were sold out. So these things go really quickly. So I ordered it on their website. It came pretty quickly. I think I got it in like 5 days. It didn't come damaged or anything like that. And I checked their website right now and it is still in stock. So this palette retails for $14.90. It has 13 eyeshadow shades in it. It is cruelty free, so that's nice. It does not say whether or not it's vegan, but it does say cruelty free. It does note that it's imported, so whatever that tells you. I will say when I got this in the mail, I was surprised at how big it is. I mean, the Beauty and the Beast palette that I got was a book-shaped palette, so I expected that. The Lilo and Stitch palette was more of a smaller palette, and I think it still had 10 shades in it. This is just massive, so kind of annoyed by that because now I have to find a place to fit it, but I love the gorgeous detailing. I mean, it's just beautiful. And then on the back, you've got the shade colors and names, and it actually gives you the ingredients, so that's nice. And then let me show you what the palette looks like. So this is what the palette looks like. It's got a lot of really interesting colors. I mean, I didn't know what direction, you know, you think of like Wonder Woman and you wonder what kind of direction they'll go in. I'm surprised there's not a more intense red in here. There is a red, but it's like a very light red. I don't know. You do get a brush, you know, I hate these brushes. I don't know, this one might be decent for like packing some color on. At least this time it's not wrapped. Some of the previous ones have been wrapped and it's already usually coming off. This actually is just a solid brush, so that's nice. And then there is a little quote on the mirror that says, "And remember that in a world of ordinary mortals, you are a Wonder Woman." So that's really cute. So one other thing I wanted to mention about the packaging, and I don't know, again, like I said, I don't know if this is made by the same company that made the other ones. This one actually has more information on the back. It says, manufactured exclusively for Hot Topic, which is what all the other ones have said. And then this one says, distributed by GBG Beauty. So I wonder if that's the same company who has made the other palettes that I've gotten from Hot Topic. I don't know. But this one is just, it feels nice and heavy, which is nice. It makes it feel a bit sturdier. But my one complaint is the packaging is just a little bit cheaper than some of the other ones. It's just like cardboard that's then wrapped. So let's see, where's a good one I can show you? So you can see right here on the edge. See how it's kind of like squished? And then, you know, you can just kind of tell that it's basically just wrapping, like a thick paper wrapping on top of a cardboard. So I just wonder how long it's gonna hold up. I know that they can do better because I felt like that Beauty and the Beast palette was built a lot better. It didn't feel like it was a cheap wrapping. So that's my big complaint there. The other thing I'm going to say is I don't have super high hopes for some of these shadows. We'll see how the mattes work. I really hope it works better than the Lilo and Stitch palette because I was not very happy with that one. The Beauty and the Beast one had some good things about it, so I'm hoping it'll be closer to that. But the issue I have is with this color right here, Fire, and this color right here, Wisdom. These are both, so let's see. This one and this one, as you can see the kind of shimmer, the glitter in them, I'm pretty sure it's just kind of a glitter overspray. So I really have a feeling that underneath it, like once you start getting into it, there's not gonna be any glitter there. And I just kind of think those types of shadows are pointless. Like, what is the point of throwing glitter on top of something if it's gone after I've used it once or twice? It's just kind of annoying. So, all right, let's put these to the test. First, I will do some swatches to show you what they look like, and then I will put them on my eyes. All right, guys, so off the bat, I can go ahead and tell you that these shadows remind me a lot more of the Beauty and the Beast palette, so that's a positive as far as I'm concerned. There definitely are some issues with some of these, but really until I try to play with them on the eyes, I won't know how good or bad, because sometimes you can still work with something as long as you know how it's gonna perform. So let me show you this. Let me show you what the swatches turned out like. So, all right. First shade we have up here is Myth. This is kind of their black shade. It is pretty. I like it. Let's see. There we go. It's a pretty black shade. It needs a little bit of building. Second shade here is that gold I showed you. So, do you see any gold glitter? Barely. Yep, I bet you can't see any at all. It is a very pretty shade underneath, but tell me why I had to get through that glitter to get there. I don't understand. Next up, this one right here is Warrior. It's a very nice navy blue. Obviously, you'll notice a lot of these mattes can be a little patchy looking, but I noticed that with the Beauty and the Beast palette, and don't worry, it's workable. So this one is gorgeous. This is called Strength. This one right here is Confident. This is Compassion, a nice dark brown, and then next to it you have a nice light brown transition Fighter. Just let me focus, that one. I'm glad they included these. This one is probably my favorite. This is Hunter. It's just a gorgeous orange. This one is the other glitter shade I showed you. And again, do you see anything glittery? No. So it was just a top layer of glitter that pretty much is now piled up in the pan. So this shade is Fierce. This one did have a little bit of glitter in it. Again, you're not really seeing it in the swatch, so it's pretty much gone. It's still, these two are still really pretty colors, but yeah, that glitter is just a pain. This one right here is Mighty, and it's kind of like a nice reddish brown. It's very pretty. This one you can't really tell very well, but it's the whitish color piece, and it has a little bit of an iridescent sheen to it. I really like this color actually. And then lastly, this is Clay. I was also kind of disappointed in this one. It's not a glittery shade, yet it crumbled just like the glittery shades did. That was the big complaint with the glittery shades, is they just kind of crumbled. So from far away, here are all of the swatches, just so you can see what I'm talking about. This is what happens after you dip into that gold, or this one. Let's see if you can tell that one, I don't know. But yeah, chunky glitter mess. So I'm about to dump the chunky glitter in the trash can so that it won't be in my way when I do my eye look. So let me do that, and then I will come back and put some eyeshadow on. All right, so for the first shade, I decided to go into the shade Fighter right here with this fluffy brush, and I'm just gonna use this as a very light transition, so I am tapping it off a good bit, and I'm gonna be very light-handed here. So this step really isn't necessary. I really just, like I said, wanted to use as many shades as possible, and I actually really like the way this comes out as a transition shade. You can kind of go heavy or light, and it just kind of gives a nice little wash in the crease. Very nice. So next up, I went into the color that I knew I wanted to use, this color right here, which is called Hunter, the orange shade. Same brush, so I'm kind of just going with like a fluffy transition. I am tapping it off because these are very powdery shadows. So this orange, I focused just on the inner half of the crease. And I don't mind if it goes a little bit on the brow bone. I do want this color to show through, and I'm going just to about to halfway. Okay. Then I went in with this shade, Fire, which is kind of the burgundy shade, and don't worry about those little sparkles because like you saw in the swatches, they just pretty much disappear. Again, tapping it off real good. And this I am very lightly, because this is a darker color, so I'm starting very light-handed, going through the crease here. Matching up with where the orange was, and just finishing the crease, and then I'm gonna dip back in, tap it, and I'm gonna start working on this outer V area, just kind of laying some pigment down. With this one, it does have some fallout if you're not careful. And you just kind of have to be, I'm being very light-handed with how I'm blending the shadow, and it's working really nicely. And I will say, this actually laid down a lot nicer than it did on this side. I did kind of struggle a bit when I first put it on. I don't know if I maybe didn't have powder on my primer in that area. Sometimes that can be the culprit. But this actually blended really nicely first go around. I don't feel the need to fix it. I am gonna clean my brush off and dip back into the orange shade though, because when I look at my self with my eyes open, I don't see as much of it right here as I wanted to. So I'm just making it a little higher because I want the colors to show and stand out. All right, so next up, I decided to use the brush that came with the palette. I do feel it's important to at least try to use it. So what I did was I went into the shade Fierce, which is the red shade. And this shade has a lot of fallout. You have to be careful with this shade. So I just very lightly kind of drag the brush on it and you get a good bit of pigment there. So the best way to work with this shadow is just to press it on your lid. So basically I am just pressing this on the lid all the way about to halfway. And I found it was easier just to kind of like, once I got it pressed down, just to kind of blend it in. So it almost shears out and becomes like a pinky red. So then I just dip back in and then just intensify it. And I did keep like a little clean brush handy because when I did the other eye, I kept getting little bits of fallout. It's just something that's going to happen with this palette. If I were you, I would maybe suggest doing your eyes first and then do your foundation. I generally just do foundation first because I'm coming on here to review the product for you and I want to skip that step, so. And you will notice a lot of powder just ends up gathering on these shadows. They just all have a lot of kick up. So I was a little disappointed with what I tried to do next. I really wanted to go into this silver shade clay and I was hoping it would be kind of a bright pop of color. I'm going to do it here so you'll see. I again did that same motion of just kind of dragging the brush and I don't know if you can even see like really hardly anything comes off on. So it's just very disappointing. This silver is probably the worst one in the palette. But I'm gonna do it anyways because I did it on the other eye. So I basically just popped this silver shade on the inner portion of the eye and I'm kind of going at an angle. And believe me, I did try wetting this shadow and it really doesn't do anything. I will try again just for the sake of showing you. So that's with it wet, so no difference at all. So very disappointing. So my next thought was, okay, well this color piece was kind of a really pretty iridescent white and I figured it would help brighten things up. So I took that same brush, drug it across. As you can see, this actually picks up a good bit of pigment and I just dabbed that over the top of it. So it does brighten it up, but it's just not that pop that I was really hoping for. So that was my one kind of like, it kind of took it in a direction I didn't want this look to go. I was just wanting something kind of bright and either shimmery or a nice pop of something right here on this inner part. But obviously these shadows just aren't there to support what I was looking for. And then of course I did drag that white shade onto the inner corner. And as you can see, just by doing that, I don't think you can even see it at all. I really had to pile it on over here. So this white shade turned out really nice on my hand, but it's like it's not translating to the eye. Let me try using my pinky because sometimes you can just deposit color better. So that I feel like deposited a lot more color and I'll just blend that in. So that's a lot better. Maybe I'll just kind of pop that over here too. Okay. And then just to blend everything out, I went back in to the red Fierce shade with this brush lightly, just getting a little bit on it and just kind of making sure it's still intense right here during the blend. And then I went in with that same brush into Fire, did another little drag of color, and I just very lightly pressed it into this outer V area because it wasn't as intense with a fluffy brush and I really wanted the depth to be out here at the end. Okay. Last but not least, I did do two little steps here. I went with the red on kind of like a tapered fluffy brush and dragged it through right directly in my crease. And then back into the Fire shade, the burgundy one. And again, just that outer part. Okay. All right. Where's my flat brush? Okay, so next up, I knew just after swatching it that I really, really wanted to use these two colors, but I also really wanted to go the red route, so I decided to use them on the lower lash line. So this is definitely way more colorful of a look than I would normally do, but again, this is all to show you guys how they work. So flat, dry brush. I'm gonna start with the blue shade, which is called Strength. And these two are probably the best in the entire palette. Well, and Hunter. Hunter was really good too. So the bright blue, green, and the orange, definitely the best in the palette in terms of being a matte shade that is super pigmented, very easy to use. So I am just gonna drag this along the lower lash line only to about halfway. I take that back, I'm not dragging it, I'm stamping it. That is the best way to use this on the lower lash line without ending up with a ton of potential fallout, because you really want to deposit that color. Then I'm dipping into Confident, the green shade, same method, dry brush, stamp it on the inner part of the lower lash line. And this one isn't quite as intense as the blue, and there's a subtle shimmer to it, so you may need to go back for a second dip into the pan. That's fine. And then as you can see over here, I decided to be kind of fun and drag the blue upward. So I'm gonna do that again here. I'm gonna start with the same brush I was using, the thick one, and just follow and do like a dotted line up. Then I'm gonna go in with this really tiny little thin angled brush, get that blue color again, and just sharpen the line. All right, so that is all for the eyeshadow. So for the liner, I did kind of a double liner. I used my Tarteist double-ended liner because I love this one just for doing the line across. It's just nice and thick. But then for the wing, because I wanted to be very detailed against the blue, I used my Kat Von D tattoo liner because it's got a very thin, precise brush. So feel free to use whatever you want, but this is what works for me. All right, so that's the winged liner done. I am just going to take that tiny little brush back into the blue shade because I went a little bit farther with my wing. So I'm just going to make sure that they match up. All right, so next up, I'm just gonna curl my lashes and use some mascara. I'm gonna do my L'Oreal Voluminous Carbon Black. I don't think I'm gonna do lashes. You know, like I went ahead and did this eye with the mascara just to kind of be able to see it and get a feel for if I wanted to do lashes. I think I might just do a second coat of mascara to make them extra bold, but I think this liner is bold enough that I can be fine without lashes. And like I said, I don't always feel like messing with them. So let me do that real quick. All right guys, so this is the finished look using this Hot Topic Wonder Woman palette. I will say it definitely has its struggles, but I mean, I'm actually kind of happy with the look I got. I think it's kind of, you know, it's fun. I really enjoyed some of these shadows. That is the one thing I can definitely tell you is some of these shadows are beautiful. My favorites are definitely Strength, Confident, Hunter, and actually I really like Fierce. I like the fact that it can be kind of a sheared out reddish pink, or it can be more intense. You know, some of these other colors I didn't actually get to use on my eye, but I can tell you I really like the tone of Wisdom. I hate the fact that they covered it in glitter, but I loved the tone when I swatched it. And I really loved the tone of Mighty. That was another one that I also really liked the tone of. As far as disappointments go, definitely these two right here, especially this clay color. This one is just awful. I mean, it's horrible. I really wish they would have just made it a full-on shimmery silver color, because whatever this is, I mean, they'd have been better off with a matte gray other than, you know, rather than this. And then this one, Peace, I'm actually surprised that I was disappointed in this because I loved it in the swatch and I was really looking forward to like a nice, pretty iridescent white color, and it was so disappointing. I mean, I literally had to pile it on my inner corner just to get any kind of highlight out of it. This palette definitely has pros and cons. Probably the best pro of it all is the fact that it's $14. So that's the one thing that I will say. I've been really enjoying reviewing these themed palettes that keep popping up at Hot Topic, and I'm hoping that more will continue to pop up. I'm really hoping for some more Disney ones, so I would really like some more Disney book palettes. Somebody, come on. So yeah, my final thoughts would be that I think that this is a great palette for the price. It's not gonna be your top-notch palette, but for $14, this is a great palette. It's Wonder Woman, it's licensed Wonder Woman. I mean, so that's the other nice thing, it's licensed by DC. So it's really cool to have something like this, especially if you know somebody who's a fan or if you yourself are a fan. And I think you would get some very nice looks out of this as long as you're just cautious in how you use the eyeshadows. So yeah, I will make sure it's linked down below so that you can go pick it up if you want to. It is still in stock. And yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe before you go, and thank you for watching. Bye guys.